Yes, everybody, welcome back to United View HQ. Welcome back to What the Devil episode. Oh, what episode is it? 87. 87, that's a lot of episodes. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Today, obviously, it's international break. It's a little harder sometimes to talk about, the current present at United because there's nothing happening for 2 weeks. So what we're going to be doing is going back in the past a little bit. I don't know if you guys have seen this morning, but on the latest episode of the Stick to Football podcast, Ole Gunnar Solskjær joined, obviously, he's the usual crew of Jill Scott, Scholes, Neville and co. Jamie Carragher, after Liverpool having another hard week, obviously wasn't there once again, shock horror. But Solskjær was talking about some of the transfers that did and didn't happen at United over the last couple of years. It was really interesting. And today, joining me on the sofa on the left is Alice. Once again, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back on.
It's all right. And in a little bit, once he's done next door, Flex will be joining us as well. Back on What the Devil, finally. Hence why we've moved time to 2 p.m. To go through all things United and speak about this and the present and the future and everything of the club. But I do want to start off by talking about this Scott McTominay stuff, because I don't know how much you remember about how you felt when we sold McTominay, but I don't necessarily agree with Solskjær. But what he said was, I was almost shocked when McTominay was sold. If you think you need a core of local players who know and understand, you think you need a core of local players who know and understand the club. He's shown in Italy what a superb player he is. He's an excellent personality, and you want that within the club. He then went on to say that McTominay probably wasn't allowed to play in his best position under United. And then when asked about if it was potentially because of Bruno Fernandes, he went, yeah, because of Bruno, because of the lack of physicality we had in midfield and the legs that we needed. Obviously, McTominay being physical and lots of legs. And then you saw a couple of games against Leeds where we said, Scott, go man to man and, box crash, and it all worked and everything. And then Roy Keane made up what I think is a really good point, whereas he basically said, yeah, you can do all the revisionism that you like about Scott McTominay, but when you talk about a squad player and then someone comes in and issues 25, 30 million quid, then, most clubs, Keane said, most clubs are going to take that. And as I just said, that obviously it's me and Alice at the moment, and we've also got someone trying to struggle behind the camera to get there. Back on What the Devil once again. It's Flex. Welcome back, bro.
Yes.
What are you saying?
What's happening, people?
How was the show?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah?
Good fun. Yeah.
International break's a little harder to talk about football, isn't it? Yeah.
The silly things that's happening on Live at 5 when people send in hot takes and just random.
Oh, it's so much fun,
funny stuff. So
hot takes is great.
They're going to put that on that. What are you saying, Alice? Good?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just enjoying this little period of calm, not losing every game. Just
5 games unbeaten and 2 weeks to not lose.
Whisper it loudly.
Whisper it loudly.
Whisper it loudly. That's how it's going.
Yeah, it's been a nice couple of weeks. We're just talking about, I don't know if you've seen the Stick to Football pod that was on this morning.
No, I haven't watched it. I saw a couple of quotes.
But it's just basically Solskjær was talking about McTominay, and he was saying that he was shocked that McTominay was sold and everything. But Roy Keane, for once, I think made a really, really good point. But he was like, you throw 30 million at a club for any of their squad players, almost every day the club is going to accept that, isn't it? I feel like even with all the revision about Scott McTominay at the moment, and obviously Solskjær making all his comments and everything, I still think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think the one thing about Scott McTominay was the year we sold him was probably after his best year because he actually got profiled correctly, playing higher up under Ten Hag. But he wasn't really good enough under Ollie. He had the fight, he had the character, he had the passion. But I probably complained about McTominay for 2-3 seasons saying he's just a squad player. That last season under Ten Hag when he was playing further up, I could see his importance. But ultimately, we got 30 million. He had 1 year left on his deal, pure profit. Where would he play right now? He's not going to play in the 10s over Mbeumo and Acuna. He's not going. You don't really want him deeper because we know he's not a player that plays deeper. So I think he's done great at Napoli, but he wouldn't have done what he's done at Napoli at Man United had he stayed.
Yeah, I just he wouldn't. Yeah, as you said, he wouldn't be the player that he is now, and he probably. I don't know if is he worth too much more than what we sold him now anyway. To Napoli.
He just won the Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's won the Player of the Year, but his price may have gone up a little bit. Realistically, how much players?
I think
be signing him for?
All right, if he was at Napoli before being at Man United and had a season like that, what would you think his value would be if Napoli went to sell him? Wouldn't be 30 million.
I'd push it to 40 to 45 million.
So it'd be more because of the way round it went.
More a little bit, but
50,
I think at the end of the day, we got as much as we were ever going to get for him.
Yeah, I think the problem with McTominay was not that he wasn't a good enough player. I think it's just as simple that he was played in the wrong position. Like Alice just said there, he was never. And I did see a quote of Ollie saying, obviously, it is because we had Bruno.
This is what I've got. He basically said we needed someone with legs and physicality.
That's
in midfield,
all it was.
And he was the guy.
Because he's a bit of a multifunctional player, he's not someone you want to sit in front of your back four, protect them, tempo set as a 6. Like he's not good enough on the ball for that. What he is and what we saw in his last season when he got like 10 goals was exactly that. And he also said games like he said the one against Leeds where we go, right, it's a man-to-man game. You're going to get after people. You've got the licensed third man run, arrive late in the box. He's going great. Done that in academy. That's his role.
What was it? He scored like 2 goals in 5 minutes.
Smashed it.
In that one game. Yeah.
So really, I just think he's basically the wrong team at the wrong time. If we were a team that say didn't have Bruno, and this might sound mad, say we never got Bruno when we did, and like Scott McTominay was just our 10 or our most advanced midfielder, we would have seen a lot more of a consistent McTominay if we would have had someone next to Fred that was say we would have got Declan Rice and we tried to get Declan Rice back in the day, or someone who's supposed to be there, let's say. Ruben Neves at the time from Wolves when he was really good next to Martinez. And back then, if we would have got the right guys and put McTominay where he was meant to go, which is crazy to say it because obviously Bruno's coming, that's fine. Magnifico, no one can get those numbers, that's fine. I'm saying hypothetically. We'd talk about McTominay completely different. The reason why, like Alice, I agree with exactly what you're saying. I complained about Tominay for years. Not good enough, look at him on the turn, he's giving the ball away again, can't pass.
Big one, I
he's
remember
in the wrong position.
The big criticism was more than anything was, remember when people said he used to hide from the ball. He used
to because you don't want to be on the ball like that.
Someone,
You don't want to be getting the ball on a half turn, back to goal.
On the halfway line,
Do you know what I mean? All that stuff, just picking it up off the back four, tempo setting, progressive passes through the line. You don't want to do that. You want to be up near the box, mate. And as soon as you let him do that, we let him do it every time he basically come off the bench for us in the last season, and we got like 10 goals out of him from the bench. Napoli have let him do it. And man's on the Ballon d'Or list. Scored some of the most goals in Europe for a midfielder. If he didn't play for Man United with that track record that had gone before him, and we saw this Scottish guy in the 10 doing bits for Napoli, winning the league with Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen and that, and he was part of that team scoring like 15 goals, he'd be mentioned like across Europe as like one of the top midfielders.
True.
That's what would happen. It's only because he's been at Man United, misprofiled for so long, and we know what he wasn't good at. And Ollie is essentially like accepting that, we got Bruno and I just had to fit him in because he can run. And it killed him. I feel sorry for McTominay.
Yeah, the thing that I felt while I was while I was watching what Solskjær was saying, was I was thinking on the one hand, like he was saying I was shocked that he was sold. But at the same time, I say you were part of the reason why he may have eventually been sold.
Neither
am I.
Now he wouldn't play.
He wouldn't play 10, and you don't want him in the middle.
Yeah, camera's on me. Yeah, I was gonna say. But yeah, it's just like I feel like Solskjær was. How's the right word to phrase it? Like kind of throwing stones in a glass house a little bit there, because ultimately Jose Mourinho was the one who brought him through, had him as a DM. Solskjaer's the one who had the chance to change it, and he's admitting now that he knew that it wasn't the best position.
But like once he's seen him play further up.
And I'm like, well, what? So if you saw that you're playing McTominay and you know he's in the wrong position, why didn't you go sign? At the time, everyone was like, why aren't we signing a DM? And we brought Fred in because we brought Fred in, it didn't work.
Rice
so why didn't you go and do it? Yeah,
exactly. If all those things would have happened, I don't think we would have seen McTominay playing next to Fred for as long as we did.
No.
But it coincided with Bruno, so.
I also think, had we gone out, instead of like going like Ronaldo, I think the last window was Ronaldo, Sancho, Varane. I think had we maybe just gone for Declan Rice in that window, or Moises Caicedo in that window, I don't even know if Ollie would have been sacked. I actually don't. That's just my unpopular opinion. I think that midfield was the biggest issue.
Well, that summer was the reason he got sacked, wasn't it? Like Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo.
It just felt so good, though. It just felt right.
That Leeds game.
It felt right.
It was 3 signings we needed so badly, and then so we signed Sancho and Varane, beat Leeds 5-1, signed Ronaldo, then beat Newcastle 4-1.
Oh, right, yeah.
So when Ronaldo's debut.
We got a draw.
But Solskjær was actually also talking about Sancho. And so he's basically talking about the fact that he feels he never actually got to properly manage Sancho. So what he said about Sancho was, so when asked, Neville turned to him and went, why did you sign Sancho? Pretty much flat out, he just went, why did you sign him? And then Solskjær was like, we wanted to take the next step, not to move away from what we had, but to add something different to the final third. We wanted to take players who could break teams down, and Jadon with his skill, link-up play and little passes around the box gave us that. But then, Solskjær also said, interesting, he said that Sancho was unlucky. Before he joined, he went on holiday as you do, and then ended up getting an ear infection. He was then hospitalised for the first 2 weeks of he was at United, and then so he basically never really started training under Solskjær. And then he hadn't really come out before. So I never really got to play with him properly because by the time he was finding his form again, I was already on my way out. I never knew that before, and obviously Sancho didn't hit the ground.
I remember that ear
illness.
infection thing. Yeah, I do remember the ear infection. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, but so he was apparently in hospital. But I do feel like with the Sancho stuff, it's like, yeah, you can make his excuse maybe the first couple months.
Yeah,
but he was the only reason his United career didn't work.
Sorry, yeah, like with Sancho, I was really backing him his first and second season because I was like, first season he'd come off the racist abuse in the Euros, he'd had the ear infection, he didn't have a pre-season. He was ill, we didn't really settle in. Ollie went, Rangnick came in. He showed a few glimpses under Rangnick. I think it was like February, March under Rangnick. He showed a few glimpses. Then obviously, it wasn't the best first season. Second season, Erik ten Hag comes in. But then, obviously he's dropped from the World Cup. He's not in a good place mentally, we hear that. He takes like 4 months off football. And then when he came back that last month, I thought it was quite good. And we all applauded him back. And we were all like, this third season is going to be Sancho's season. And then he never played in that third season because apparently he didn't try in training, and then he had to apologise to Ten Hag, and he refused to apologise to Ten Hag, so he sat out for 4 months. So I went from feeling sorry for Sancho, and because he was probably one of the players I was most excited for us to sign at the time, it made sense at the time, to just thinking he's a bit of a knob, actually.
Yeah.
Like it's
was that the same summer where he played as a 10 and he was amazing?
Yeah. Erik ten Hag's first summer because Ronaldo wasn't there. And that was when Ronaldo, all the questions, I remember being in the presses and all the presses, but Ronaldo, where is he? There's that and the other. And it's when we had him as a false nine, Martial on the left and Rashford on the right.
It's like kind of split strikers.
Yeah.
And they were really good together.
Yeah. When we beat Liverpool like 4-0 in Singapore, beat Tottenham as well. I can't remember. We had a good pre-season.
Then
we started and we got like 4-0 off Brentford and like it was a horrendous start.
But then we beat Liverpool and it was Sancho scored that lovely goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, he sat down Milner and Van Dijk.
I find it mad that Sancho's career so quickly, because it wasn't the worst. It was comparatively to the £72 million we spent for him, right? It wasn't the world's most fantastic 2 seasons. But just take away that and it actually wasn't that bad, and then it just immediately completely exploded.
I think my thing for Sancho is I think he's got a lot going on. It's not an excuse, but I think mentally, I don't think he's as resilient or hasn't been as resilient as he's needed to be for talent to show through.
There's a lot of rumours about stuff he was struggling with.
Exactly. And I think we saw a snapshot into that with him having to obviously be off for a while, which absolutely you need that time. You wouldn't wish this on anyone. He's gone through that. But I don't think, you see some things on social media now that he's kind of been half involved with, not involved with from his time at Chelsea. You're just like, Jadon, man, just stay away from all types of crap and focus on your football.
Yeah.
And then just from a perspective of the stuff we can see, when you see Jadon for every game he plays in the flesh, especially in the stadiums, and you just see this guy that's like, I don't see like a burning ember of fire in there to
the passion it looks like.
Yeah, like intensity,
no
passion,
hunger.
It's all quite, if things are going quite nice, give it to me, roll it through someone's legs a bit, I'll take a little touch. Yeah. He's a nice footballer. And I think his style didn't really suit the Premier League. And then for him to go up some levels, I think that's when you got to channel the inner you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think he struggled with some other stuff, and it just went from bad to worse. Because, like you say, people say Man United is the problem a lot of the time, which we've got a lot of evidence to suggest it is with a lot of players, not Sancho.
I think
as soon as he's left to go Chelsea, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Comes back, now he's at Villa, unused sub half the time, comes off the bench here and there.
Mentality, I feel like if the manager says apologise or sit out for 4 months and wait till January, if you really care about football, you don't even care. You just apologise anyway.
Exactly.
He just was like,
or you just don't.
You just do any. You
don't do what he did in the first place.
But you'll do anything. Just get back in the team.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I know the truth. My agent knows. My family do. But you know what? I need to play. I want to get in the England squad. This, that, and the other.
And then if you then play well, score a couple goals, no one cares anymore.
Exactly. I remember.
Think about Xhaka, like spitting on the floor,
throwing the armband down on that, and there was still a way back because mentality, right? And he was one of their best midfielders when he left to go to Leverkusen. I remember Sancho in clips in the England squad, that funny clip with him and Saka.
Yeah.
Where he was like, how many goals you score, bro? What? How many assists? What? You think you're going to get more than me in that? Look at that conversation to now.
Yeah.
That was probably about 4 years ago now, maybe. But that's the level of drop-off. He was one of the best wingers in the whole world, or in Europe.
I generally, when we made the sign of Sancho, that was like one of the most happy I've been.
Oh, 100%. And we waited. Remember we were like, Wood, remember the year before?
Yeah,
for like 117 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Just get him. Why are you penny pinching? And we waited. got him for the
Next
70.
year, yeah.
Then we were like, God, it doesn't
Mate,
matter.
I remember I was, when that Here We Go landed, I knew it was landing about half an hour before because the guy, F Edits, Frederick on Twitter. Well, basically, he made the Here We Go and he sent me a text being like, Fabrizio's commissioned the Here We Go. And then it came out, I remember I was at uni and I ran into my mates room being like, it's finally happened. And then you had the whole intro thing where he was sitting there going like, this is my club. Because obviously the whole obviously moving to United after Man City.
It was peak vibes.
Oh, it was so good. And Varane and Ronaldo, why didn't it work?
Varane at Leeds with the shirt.
Varane.
Oh, I know.
I thought we were winning the league.
Rafe, my favourite player.
Genuinely.
Oh, then
Like,
he just retired.
Varane and Leach, when they played together, it was great. And
Yeah.
then as soon as they got
Those, like,
injured,
They had different injuries at different times.
Well, no, they got injured in the same game in the Europa League,
Seville.
remember?
that went just
Yeah,
we went
they
from,
were
like,
both their ankles got snapped.
beating Barcelona, winning the Carabao Cup, like on track to second,
And then
to
it
then
just-
just burn.
And
But then
those
he
two
got
get-
himself fit
for the
for
final.
the final.
Last
Big up.
game.
And
United cult hero.
He's one of my
Easily.
favourite ever
Love
United
Varane, man.
players.
Yeah, for me it was
I couldn't get
yeah.
Varane's shirt actually. I should have had one by now.
Oh,
It's
sure.
bad.
Yeah, sure.
He signed he's a shirt in here actually. Is it that?
I've no
It's
idea.
on that kit, but it's not that shirt. We've got it out there.
It's
signed
on the rack of the million
Yeah,
shirts
yeah,
out
he
there,
signed
yeah.
he signed that one. It was
Yeah.
on a bunch of other
What
players.
with Sancho, the one thing I don't understand, why didn't he go to Roma in the summer? I saw that and I was like, that
Money.
Serie A,
It suits the
but
league.
I know it's money, but I'm like, I think this is the perfect thing like you're saying about not caring about the football. But he goes to Serie A, unreal.
He'd be fine.
He will turn into an incredible winger because he's quicker than all the rest of them, more technical probably than half the players in that league.
Because look, here's
easily.
what's going to happen this season. Like Villa have got themselves together now. They're on a really good run.
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott's not even on the bench, so they didn't want him. Lindelof is like comes
Is what
in
it-
here
yeah.
and there, just the last 10 minutes, whatever. And Sancho is off the bench here.
They're
and
not
there.
signing him for free.
No chance.
No.
No.
No. Yeah. No. I just think Sancho, which from a financial point of view, because it does show where the priority lies, but I understand why his agent would have said to him when he was at Chelsea, don't take their offer because you've got a year left on this much money. Manchester United have to do it. Now, we can say it's bad advice, but for him, he's not getting 250 grand a week, probably again for the rest of his career, unless he really finds something and gets back. So what they've done is they've gone, just keep getting a couple of loans until this deal runs out. And then he might start taking it more seriously. Maybe you might see that as a fresh
Yeah, he
reset.
Gotta take the season seriously.
26 in Jan, I want to say.
Exactly, 26.
So it's still the second half of his career.
Second half of his career, and that's where he has to go. I don't know. Right, I'm going to Italy, or I'm going to
Go and play in the Conference League kind of thing. Become like a Conference League hero or something for some unsuspecting
go
club.
and play in La Liga, or go play. You know.
Do you know what I don't get?
Germany.
I think Ben Jacobs said that Chelsea offered him like 200 grand a week when you can.
Yeah,
see
which
what-
is the same contract Palmer's on.
Yeah, Palmer and Casado was nuts. And I'm thinking that realistically, he's going to leave Man United as a free agent. Unless he goes to like Saudi, is anyone going to really offer him much more than 100k a week?
Exactly.
So I'm thinking, would you rather want 200k a week for the next 4 or 5 years guaranteed, or nearly 300k a week for a year, and then you go back down to 100k a week?
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like, will he actually make that much more money? Because he's got to have a good season at Villa. Otherwise, I don't think
Which
he's
doesn't look like he is.
I think at most he gets 120.
Yeah, just because of the name, who he is.
Yeah, like potential.
Yeah.
And he's on a free as well.
Yeah.
So
He'll
you've
sign
got more
for.
bargaining.
You know what? I think who would snap him up is like Como.
Yeah.
That's the kind of deal I can see happening. But yeah, it's by the by. It's in the past now, Sancho, unfortunately. But a couple of comments are actually talking about Varane. Now that we mentioned Varane, they're talking about how Varane could play under Amorim.
Oh, if he
That
was in the
would've
back
been so
three.
good.
Oh,
Yeah, if he was in
my
the back three,
days.
you've got De Ligt in the
Put
middle with
him
like
in-
Yoro and Varane. on
No,
the side
I'd put him in the
or something.
centre.
You put him in the
Because
middle.
he can't run
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Just
Oh, that's true.
get
yeah.
him orchestrating. You get De Ligt on the right, Yoro on the left, or whatever.
That'd be
But,
so good.
but Yoro has
Leaks
been a
on the
bit
left.
up and down, bless him. I think he's been a bit
Yeah.
Like he's not had the
inconsistent because he's been in and out the
consistency
team,
minutes.
and Harry Maguire's come in certain games and had a good impact. and
I've
a
been
bad
totally
impact.
fine with Yoro though this season. Like I've seen some people
Yeah, you would
talking about
forget he's
Yoro a little
19.
bit.
Yeah.
It's his 20th birthday today.
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
is it today? Literally.
It's
Oh,
his
there you go.
20th birthday today.
So he's 20.
He's just turned 20. He's got like what 55 appearances under his
And also,
belt.
like,
young
he's
kid, man.
been solid. I think he's had, was it one of the games he was quite iffy? I think it was Man City he was quite iffy in.
Yeah.
But I actually think he's been pretty solid in most of our games. But also when you're playing here and then not playing here and then playing here, and like we've got one game a week, he just needs a run of games. Because when he first came in, he was a bit rusty.
Yeah.
And then he had a run of games, and for like 3 months, he was like our best player.
Remember against Southampton last year?
Yeah,
Sulemana
just
went-
Rich
Sulemana,
skin.
but and then he didn't get beaten for like 12 games on the trot or something. I think.
He
Yeah.
said
after
Rio
that.
was like, yeah, he had a chat with him and then he watched that game back. He did an interview afterwards, didn't he?
Yeah,
Said,
he
I
did
watched
the
that game
interview
back.
with
I
Rio,
got some
yeah.
advice and stuff. And he really took it seriously from then. And he went on a really good run to the point where when he got injured last year.
Yeah.
We were like, damn, that's a bad one. Then he come back in towards the end, didn't he? Did he play in the Europa League final?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Or did he come off the bench? Did he start?
I remember he played in the final because Onana came out, and then Onana then stopped coming out and was expecting Euro to deal with it, and they were just
and then the Euro was being pressed by like 2 or 3 Spurs
Yeah.
players.
Oh yeah,
And I was
looking at his own goal.
This keeper.
Mate, we win that final if we have like Le Mans in goal. Now that I see how confident these
just
players
off that,
are
even
Le
though
Mans.
the team was in a bad spot and there was no Mbeumo.
Yeah, we win that final,
but just
with
off
a
of
change
the keeper.
goalkeeper.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
mad. That's crazy. But we've not really spoken too much about like I want to know kind of how you feel about United at the moment, because like we've not really spoken a lot about it, and there's a lot going on about it. I feel. And I changed my tune massively. And Abby pointed this out when I was on the live fight with her yesterday, that I've changed my tune quite a lot on United in the last month or so.
Yeah, positive.
Because I was going through... I maintain my position with Amorim that I just don't think it's going to work for him at the end of the day. Like the dreams, aspirations he has at United, don't see him happening. Like, kind of like getting us back to swashbuckling, league title winning, Champions League winning team. But at the moment, obviously, I think there's no reason he needs to be sacked right now. I think right now he deserves to stay. And I was looking forward to our next 10 games, and I accidentally predicted that we were going to win 7 of them.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I kind of, because I went through them game by game, and I was like...
It's hard not to.
I was like,
but
we're playing Wolves twice, Burnley, Leeds...
AFCON, though, that's going to be...
But I know about AFCON. But, like, how do you feel heading into like the next couple of months with United?
I'm on a game-by-game thing.
Yeah.
I'm on a game-by-game thing because I think it's dangerous if we look too far ahead, which you obviously have. 10 games into the future.
It's end of Jan, next 2 months.
But obviously, everything is in fives, isn't it? Even though, like, the next international break's not till March, all of a sudden, everything is next 5 games, next 5. You look at the form guide, it's the last 5.
Yeah,
so
five
we kind of have these
5
chunks.
has always been the number,
It's always 5,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you look at the next 5, and you see Everton, you see Palace away, where you go, that's one where you could lose or draw.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
You see West Ham at home, you see Wolves away, and you see Bournemouth at home. The way we're playing now, you feel like we'll get something similar to, or a little bit better than the 5 we just had. You know, 3 wins and 2 draws. It feels this next 5 feels that's what we should be aiming for. Where do I stand on everything? What I've learned.
I mean, that's 24 or 22 out of 30 points.
It'd be a great run, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's great. That could be 10 unbeaten in the little 5 that I'm looking at. But I feel like what we did yesterday on the Flexing KG show is we went back, because it was the year of Amorim, and went back to the very first game. And then we literally, don't know why we did, but it was like therapy, but also wasn't, because it brought up all the emotions. But I'm glad we did. We went through literally result by result. You know, Ipswich.
Right, yeah.
Onto
Bodo, Everton.
Then, you know, the Man City win. Then, you know, we literally went game by game.
Yeah.
And it's not until you do that, you lot should do it.
I didn't realise how bad it was.
Just 100%. And then we started going, God, let's get the thumbnails up from the time. Let's go on the journey of.
Yeah.
And like when you do it, you actually realise like, yeah, you know what? People that were trying to be like, and anyone who wasn't on board, why that was you're not a real fat. All of this. It's not until you go back and see
realise
what was actually going on,
happening.
bro. You forget some of the criminality that was going on. All them home losses against like Bournemouth, Forest, getting punched up by Brentford 4-3. Then the Europa League starts kicking in and we do well, but we just threw the league. We lost to West Ham at home, Wolves at home.
Yeah.
Struggled against Ipswich. You know what I mean? With Dorgu and
Harry Maguire was bailing us out.
Do you know what I mean? So you go through that. Then you get to the final and you go, oh my God, I can't believe. Then you go to this season and you go, well, we got excited against Arsenal. Then look what we did at Fulham. Then look what we did at Grimsby. Then we
97th minute against Burnley.
Then Burnley last minute.
Man City.
Then we get slapped by Man City. But then we beat Chelsea. Then you get slapped by Brentford. And then since then, Sunderland to now is what's been good. But you go through it and you go, no, because you start to think, have I been a bit, I don't know, have I gone a bit early? But you go, that's fair, man. I don't care what anyone says. We finished 15th, we're losing every week. We built up to this one game where we go, you know what? It will kind of be worth it if we just we all know we're going to beat Spurs.
And we lost to Spurs.
And the manner of it, no attack. Do you know what I mean? It's awful in the net. Players afterwards. Then you start this season. Then Grimsby happened. Amorim's basically telling us I might quit. How's that supposed to make me feel as a fan? How am I going to keep calm and man just going, I don't know, and I might have to go. Can't get rid of them, but you can get rid of me. Then City happens 3-0. Then Brentford. So you go on that journey and you go, nah, I don't care what. that's fine that it's calm now. I'm not that guy to be like, well, I'm still hammering. I don't care about that. But I think it's completely fair in that period, all the way up until we start to turn it around,
100%.
to be like, nah, this ain't going anywhere.
Well, I'm pretty sure like 80% of our fan base was hammering out after Brentford.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like half of them were like, yeah, I was always hammering in. I was like, first of all, Sunderland, I know they've been great this season, but a newly promoted side at home, Man United should be beating them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like these games that we won, we were expected to win those games anyway. Like, you know, so I'm like, first of all, yes, we won 3 in a row, but they're games that we should be winning anyway. Second of all, I'm like 15th. It was atrocious. We were awful. And I also look at our team and I think this team is good enough to get Europa League football next season. Like, if Amorim comes 8th, some people are going to be happy with that. 15th to 8th is an improvement.
If he comes 8th, sack him.
But I'm like...
You sack him?
Anything under 6.
I'll be honest, I'd see...
Anything,
and that's
anything
the thing.
that's
This
not
team's
Europe.
good enough for top 6.
They
Anything
are.
that's not Europe. We're in two competitions.
As this season's transpiring, we can see it now where we are. But I'll be honest, man's up. I wasn't even placing that type of... I was saying, like, even if you don't get Europe, just show me improvement so I can be like... That is where the Arsenal thing kicks in, of like, listen,
At
you
least
got
you look
8th
better.
twice, but you can see a positive direction. I wasn't even on as harsh as you guys was, and that's fine, I get that. Especially now we're looking at it. But I weren't even doing that. But when the Grimsby one done me.
The Grimsby one was
The
when
Grimsby
I
one
had
done
Amorim
me.
out.
Yeah,
I,
that
like,
was
lost
was
my
that what the
head.
day you was done?
Yeah, Grimsby.
What about you? Was it before that? Was it even last season? Was it like Spurs loss? You like
For me, no, I couldn't get over the Grimsby one. No, because what it was it
was
after
it like
Grimsby?
Brentford or Man City?
Well, no, so it was after Grimsby. I was like, all right, if he doesn't, I remember saying if he doesn't turn, because I knew he wasn't going to get sacked after the Grimsby game because we had one more game before the international break. I was like, if he doesn't turn up against Burnley with a back 4, then he's got to be done. Because that's when everyone talked about the formation change and everything. And I was like, right, if he doesn't turn up to Burnley with a back 4, then he's done. He turned up to Burnley with a back 3. But then because we won the game in like the 97th minute, I was like, they're just not going to sack him now, are they? Because you can't win a game in the 97th minute, then sack the guy. And then once he wasn't sacked in the international break, I was then really shocked that he wasn't sacked in the one afterwards. But that's because right before the international break, we beat Sunderland and we changed so much. So the changes that I was basically saying that I wanted to see... Yeah, the changes that I wanted to see happen against Burnley were not necessarily like the resting formation is 3 at the back until the day he leaves. That's fact.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. But it was the other states of play. We were so much more of a back 4 against Sunderland, and it was much more long ball and everything.
Direct,
Once I saw that, I was like, okay, those are the changes I wanted to see a month ago. So therefore, fine. He should be given the games after the international break,
and subsequently those
which
games
he's then gone and won like 1-2 and drawn 2 of them. So, but after the Grimsby game was where I was like, this isn't working long term, which is my term. I said at the beginning of last year, or like when we were losing all those home games in the Premier League, but still winning the Europa League, I was like, Christmas. I'm gonna galvanise myself for Christmas and pick my side properly, like once we hit halfway through this season. Because that's also when we were signing the good players in the summer. We're getting Mbumo in, we're getting Cunha in, we're getting Šeško in, we're getting the goalkeeper in, we're also getting rid of the players that we needed to get rid of. Anthony was gone, Højlund was gone, Rashford was gone, which is I'm less happy with. But in general, I was like,
Garnacho.
This is the best, Garnacho, this is the best shift I've seen in a summer in so long.
What I was going to say is, like, I feel like Amorim will be the first Man United manager if he gets sacked to maybe leave us in a better place than where he took us over. Because I look at a lot of Man United managers, they take us over, they spend a load of money, they have a good second season, we get excited, third season's atrocious, we feel like we've hit a new rock bottom, Ragnick, Ten Hag. I feel like Amorim, like, even if he gets sacked, I feel like we'll be in a better place for it, because Ten Hag, I think, is actually a better manager than Amorim, but I think Amorim is better at his sort of squad management, in the sense of like Amorim knows who to bring in. Like Ten Hag was like SEG player, I'm going to play Forson over Ahmad. Whereas Amorim,
he recognises who the good players are.
Yeah, it's like Cunha.
Amorim's at least got
instantly.
He's got a bit of ball knowledge about him.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah. I think he makes. Yeah, I think his construction of a squad. Yeah, definitely, I agree with that.
Because like I was talking to someone about Liverpool, Arne Slot and Klopp. Klopp's transfer window, Arne Slot's transfer window. Like Klopp knew how to build a squad. I feel like with Amorim, and you can obviously put Ineos on this as well as they've come in, he knows how to build a squad, and I think regardless of what happens if Amorim leaves, there will be a good squad for a manager to take over. Whereas the squad that Ten Hag left was atrocious. It was atrocious.
But I think a big part of that, though, is also changing the football structure, because those decisions, how they're made now, are different. Yeah. So, like...
That's why Sancho, quote unquote, is never going to happen again.
No. And those types of players. And when you look at how Wilcox is talking and Barada and what Sir Jim is on, what their intentions are, along with people like Amorim as well, where they're like, you could see they made the decision, we need guys from the league who can come in now and play and make us instantly better.
Also looked at Semenyo as well.
Exactly. You get Ahmad, you get Mbeumo. Sorry, you get Cunha, you get Mbeumo instantly. And just by them, forget tactics, forget instructions, forget formations and systems. Just by placing them two in those two positions, your attack is better. Yeah. Your team is better.
The quadrupled in quality.
The output, the work rate, the attitude, the comfortability in the shirt. Like, they can have up and down games. Of course, any player can. But already, it's different. Then you look at which I was actually quite, I gave a lot of scrutiny to, because I was like, what are we doing? Just get Emi Martinez. Like, I'll be honest. Yeah, when it was Lamont, that day when it was like, it's agreed terms with Martinez and he thinks he's going, and then Lamont is there because Villa might get hit. I was like, good, let Villa get the guy I've never heard of from Royal Antwerp. Go and get me Premier League proven, because I was doing the same Cunha and Bruma. If you just get me Martinez, he's going to just know what to do. Yes, he's got a couple bozo moments in him, but World Cup winner, not scared,
he pushes
not
our
phased,
front line forward.
Pushes our front, gets after people,
out,
won't need a settling in. That's what we need right now to be a competitive team. Even though it didn't go that way, I still really respect the decision they made. Now I can see Lamons and see what he's like, baby Courtois.
Amorim's policy was those 4 positions. He asked for 4 Prem players, didn't he? He asked for Cunha, Mbeumo, Watkins, and Martinez. Whereas if Amorim, I think, had his way, those would have been our 4 transfers. It was literally 4 players from the Premier League. And Belaber as well in terms of midfield. And then I think in terms of how the recruitment process now works and why it's worked well, is those 2 transfers that we did sanction in Cunha and Mbeumo are the 2 that we should have, and the 2 that we didn't sanction in Martinez and Watkins
are the 2 we
were also the correct decisions in not sanctioning them, even against the manager.
Well, because actually that's another thing. I really wanted Watkins.
So did I.
I was like, again, what are we doing? If you can get Ollie Watkins, who's Prem proven this, that and the other, obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing. You fast forward to that take now and people are like, mate, he scored 1 goal.
Yeah, I think Watkins would have scored more than 1 goal for us this season.
Yeah, exactly.
But
in this team.
Clearly, physically, he's dropped off a massive level, Watkins has.
He has.
And Šeško there's been debate here and there about him. And I was unsure about Šeško. Like, we signed him, and Jack is, from AFTV, is a massive fan of Šeško. As soon as we got him, Jack texted me being like, cannot believe you've pulled this one off, Dylan, that is mad. Because and I can see why now, but he's also, I think he not to the same level as Mbeumo and Cunha, and particularly Mbeumo, but I do think Šeško's he's levelled us up compared to Højlund, for example.
I think Sesko's better than he gets credit for. He was pretty crap last game, but he had 3-4 good games in a row. 2 of them were really good, where he showed that his all-round game is better than Højlund's, because Højlund got 4 goals the whole of last season. That's what people seem to forget.
That's crazy.
The last 2 games, Sesko wasn't great. His cameo versus Tottenham was bad. But we see glimpses of Sesko and we see potential of Sesko. And of course, I wanted us to go for midfielder over Sesko. I wanted us to go for Watkins over Sesko. I didn't like the price of Sesko, and I preferred Ekitike to Sesko, but he went to Liverpool. But I'm like, there's a player there for sure. This is a young player in the hardest position to play for Man United, in my opinion, who isn't getting loads and loads of service. But my only concern with Sesko is mentality. A little bit. He looks a little bit if you compare it to a Rooney, he does look a little fragile. That is my only concern with Sesko, is because when you're a striker, it's not just how good you are, but it's can you block out the noise. And he had a couple good games. I think Forest was a bit meh. Gary Neville gets on him.
He probably should have come off against Forest.
Yeah, Xerxes should be given
he probably
a bit
should
of a
come
go.
off. Yeah.
I just worry about maybe if he's a bit fragile with Sesko, but I think there's a player there.
The thing that I'm with that in terms of Šeško, what I'm all right with at the moment is when he's not having a good game, at least he's not having a bad game. So we saw with Højlund sometimes, he would actually have a 2 out of 10 game. His pass will be off. Šeško, when he doesn't play well, and this might be a bit of a weird thing to say, at least he's just kind of invisible rather than visibly bad.
Yeah.
Rather than costing us.
It's a bit of a copian way of looking at it, I think.
We
spent a lot of time talking about
I think
Šeško
he's more raw than I thought. I thought that when you see the clips, obviously, I didn't watch Leipzig inside out, game in, game out for 90 minutes, but a few Champions League games and a couple of clips.
It's almost 12,000 minutes he's got in his career so far. That's no small amount of minutes.
Exactly, he's played a lot of games, but obviously, yes, Bundesliga tax and that, but I saw a powerful, strong, blitzing past people, leaving people for dust. And it is that Premier League humbler. It really, really is. And that, you know, Man United humbler of like, I just fought for the 6'5", you know, the videos of him doing basketball slam dunks. And I just thought he's going to be, like, defenders are going to kind of bounce off.
He's going to come in.
Exactly. Which was probably wrong for me to think. But I needed to have a look at him up close, personally, in our team, week in, week out in the league. And now I've done that, I know what he lacks now. And he does actually, for his size, lack a little bit of that dominating physicality that I thought he would have for them.
Skinnier.
Yeah, bit flimsy. But I think these are all things I think he can learn, though. These are all things I think will be here in time. So I think, he's not the finished article. I didn't expect him to be the finished article, but he is a bit more raw than actually I thought. And actually, I see when we were all fuming. Well, I wasn't fuming, but I was like, where is he? We buy this guy who's like one of the most talked about young strikers in Europe, nearly went Arsenal last year, signs a new deal at Leipzig. He's coveted, he's wanted. So you're like, yes, you get rid of Højlund, you get this guy, and that's us sorted. It's not that. No. It's actually not that. As soon as he got here and Amorim weren't playing him against Arsenal, didn't start him against Fulham.
It's project striker.
And then he did come on in a few games. He did look off it.
First couple games,
First few games, you're going, I actually can see why Amorim haven't started you. You do look a bit lost here. So it's that adaptation. Amorim said in the presser, didn't he, early on? He was like, Benj, what did he say? Benj wants to do so much. He wants to do everything. We have to convince him
to chill out.
Not quite ready yet, this, that, and the other. So I think it's just managing this young player with his mentality, his physicality, and his talent.
Letting him grow.
Because Xerxes, do you remember the first few games of Xerxes?
Yeah.
He had 2 left feet, bro. He was trying to play. I remember we played Liverpool really early last year, and he was playing against Van Dijk and that. And it was almost like laughing at him, just taking the ball off him. He was trying to. It was like he was blowing out his backside. He was trying to slow the game down. This is a bit quick.
He was really lethargic.
So we do take for granted just how difficult it is to come play in this league. And if you speak to ex-pros who have done it from abroad, or come from the champ up, they tell you, or even some pros now who've had a bad stint, and then they'll tell you, man, the Premier League's no joke. So anyone who does come in as a new signing from another country and just smashes it, you have to really, really rate them, because this league is unforgiving. Man.
That's why I'm really rating Ekitike at the moment at Liverpool. The way he came in and was just like...
seamless.
Bang, goals.
He's from Bundesliga just like Wirtz, but you have to be a certain type. If you've got the physicality where you can move sharp, you're strong, like Haaland, you'll be all right, even if your ability is a little less. If you've got bags of ability, but that intensity, you can't find it. Xavi Simons is struggling. He's a talented footballer, very talented footballer, but you're struggling with that, how to impose yourself, or you need to be in the perfect team, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, well, my take with Šeško is just the problems, this is what I said on Monday on Red Carpet, was the issues, like comparing him and Højlund, which I don't think is fair on Šeško. It's the problems Højlund had are not things that can be coached out. Højlund was one-dimensional. He had I don't want to say one-trick pony, but Højlund was getting behind. He got decent shot power. Like we saw it in his first season, and some of his goals for Napoli so far have been he just leathers the ball. Cool, sweet. He's quick and he can leather the ball. Whereas with Šeško, it's stuff that, as you said, you just coach him over time. You physically make him stronger, get him in the gym, make him stronger, bulk him up a little bit so he can compete with, rather than the ridiculous Bundesliga defending. And teach him how to use his
body better.
Yeah,
because he's got long limbs, he's got long legs, you've got a big frame, you're massive. You can learn how to be a nightmare with. That's the real coaching of, right, here's how you take the ball. If you've got Van Dijk on his way to, use your frame this way. Maybe come towards rather than sit. Here's where you stay. Here's where you run. Yeah. He can learn those things. I agree.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's just stuff that you can coach him into learning this stuff, and then he'll be this is why I'm like Amorim said in his presser before the Spurs game. He was asked extensively on Šeško, and he was like, I'm not worried. Šeško's worried about scoring goals. I'm not worried about Šeško scoring goals. He was like, Šeško's going to be here for a number of years. And I agree with him. I think maybe get another striker in if we're back in Europe.
The only thing I was going to say, the only thing that does frustrate me about our striker situation is we keep doing things the wrong way round, or not just completing it. So when we get 2 older strikers when we had Cavani and Ronaldo or whatever. Then when we go and get the younger striker, we go and get Højlund by himself. And then when we need to give him back up, we go and come back with Xerxes. And now we're back to a situation where we've got another young striker. Let's be honest, Amorim doesn't see Xerxes as another striker.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anyone to learn.
He doesn't
off.
really see
Here
Xerxes
is the
at all.
time where we should have
Cavani
a Cavani or an Ivan Toney in January or something or someone for him to share that burden with. We keep not doing it. Even an Ollie Watkins to share off or something.
But like our best striker signings have been the Cavanis, the Ibras, the Ronaldos. It has
Yeah,
been
everyone who's 30 plus, and then also
like
Martial.
Van Persie won us the league.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm just like, with a striker, if they're going to be here for 2 years, like do it. Like in the summer, I was like, low key, if you can get Harry Kane, you do it.
100%.
Do you know what I
What
mean?
would you mean low key?
Yeah,
Like,
high key.
Some people were like, no, he's slow, he won't work in our system. And I was like,
stupid.
he's Harry Kane.
He's 54 million.
Should have bought him
as well,
3
you
years
know?
ago, and they were talking about sell-on value. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Even now, you spend 50,
Like,
60 million on Harry Kane.
If you get 2 seasons out of Harry Kane, you're getting like 20. You're getting
That's
guaranteed 20
the
goals.
one that Ten Hag wanted, where I was like, yeah, you're right here.
Should have got.
So many
Harry
Ten Hag
Kane,
signing, I'm like,
he
what are you
wanted
doing?
Rashford, Harry Kane, Elise, front three.
Not bad.
Oh,
that would
is
have
a
been
front
nuts.
3.5.
Wouldn't have been bad.
That's Bayern's front three, but with an upgrade on Diaz.
Yeah,
So that's
literally.
better on probably what is the best front three in the football
Well,
right
I
now.
mean, Diaz is playing pretty well, to be fair.
Diaz, well, so is Rashford.
Yeah, they've kind
But
of.
when
apart, to be
Diaz hasn't scored 30 goals in a season, for Liverpool, like I would put Rashford over Diaz personally.
Rashford when he's in flow
Rashford over
state.
Diaz.
I would.
Like
The two of them have been in the Prem. Rashford did better in the Prem in terms of like
in
at
a worse
their
team.
best. At their best,
was
and then
there a couple of years,
also,
hasn't it?
and Rashford's got like 7 goals, 6 assists for Barcelona already this season as well.
Rashford in
is
flow
flying
state
beyond
is
belief
just
at
a
the
different,
moment.
Rashford over
different
Diaz.
beast. I'd take
I'm
Diaz.
picking Rashford over Diaz.
Like I know he's a
Like
bit inconsistent.
but I'm thinking Rashford under Eric Ten Hag that first
30
season,
Yeah,
30
that
goal
Rashford,
season.
yeah.
That Rashford blows Diaz out the water.
Yeah.
Absolutely blows
How
Diaz out the water.
Is that Rashford we don't
Because
see
that
it, though.
Rashford was so good because of the striker he was playing with. Right?
Diaz has got a level you won't really go below, though. You don't think he fluctuates as much as Rashford because of his intensity.
That I'll accept that.
I think I might prefer that because he has bags of ability as well, but he also has hunger and tenacity. Well, that's a good one.
Rashford's got the
Rashford's
output.
Rashford's always-
Rashford over.
You put Rashford with
yeah,
Kane.
comments
who's selfish.
as well.
He's
Let
not
us know.
selfish.
Yeah.
But-
Kane can drop deep.
Yeah, this is the other thing.
Rashford's got
That
the
Rashford was always at his best when he's playing like that kind of striker. So Martial or Weghorst, the kind of striker with the traits to drop back and let him go forwards.
That's a good one.
That's Harry Kane's bread and but that's why England's best three, no matter what Rashford's form is like, is Rashford, Kane, and Saka.
Not
100%.
Foden.
No matter if
left
Rashford's
wing.
having
Gordon.
a poor season,
Or Gordon.
it's still Rashford because you know when he plays with Kane, he's going to be so good.
He was our
So
top
when you've
scorer in the
got
World
so
Cup.
if Rashford was at Bayern, this is why I'm saying that I think Rashford would bench Diaz.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that I know Rashford will be able to play alongside Harry Kane.
There's certain managers that would prefer Diaz, but Rashford, like
God,
for
can you imagine
output.
Kane?
Very similar.
Kane and Šeško as your two midfield striker options. Oh,
Unbelievable.
outrageous. But another thing I want to move on to as well is a little bit towards the January window because Ben Jacobs has been doing his rounds as he always does. And he's been talking about Conor Gallagher. And so I'm going to plug it right now. Cheeky exclusive interview with Paul Parker yesterday. Which has just come out on our website. But basically, one of the things that he was saying was Conor Gallagher. He was like, basically, Paul Parker, I won't read out the whole thing, but basically, Parker was basically just being like, if you want one guy to be reliable, run around, get the ball, and do the job that Amorim wants in midfield at the moment, it's this guy. You need him. He wants out of that Atletico, apparently. Like, he's not playing loads there. Simeone seems to prefer others. But we tried to sign him on deadline day, on loan. Then, basically, Atletico said 45 mil or nothing. But now it seems more like Atletico would be willing to
His minutes have
work
gone down.
something out here.
Yeah.
When we were on red carpet on Monday, and I think, was it James that asked if you had to sign in one position, who would it be? I said midfield.
Yeah.
I think others were talking about left wing back and striker, whatever. I said
as
midfield.
well,
Well, how would you feel? Like, because basically what Parker said was Conor Gallagher is the one that you needed to sign. Paul Parker, I know, can be here and there
Yeah,
with
he
what
can,
he says, but I just want to kind of get your thoughts on how much, to what extent is that true, or is there someone else for January? You're giving me a bit of a look, Alex.
I just think Conor Gallagher's an English Agate, to be honest. He's just workhorse, does what you want off the ball, on the ball, limitations. And I look at it, for example, we're going back to England. I know Maino was off the back of that amazing first season under Ten Hag. Southgate took Gallagher out of the England midfield and put Maino in. Just was different level Maino. And if Maino can't get in the midfield, I know a very different kind of player. Maybe Gallagher is more what Amorim wants. But we know that Gallagher isn't better than Maino. He's stylistically most like Agate. If we're bringing in a midfielder, I don't want it to be somebody that is just going to be a bit of an Agate. I want it to be somebody that could actually push Casemiro out of that starting 11, because every time I take Casemiro off, we fall off. I need someone that can go Casemiro's level. And I just think, like, okay, it's an extra body in midfield. If we send Maino out on loan, we need a midfielder. If this is the guy we can get, fine. But I'd much rather us just literally do what we can and drop 100 million on Elliot Anderson, honestly.
I think both things are true. I think if you can get Conor... Here's the thing, right? Let's just talk about our manager.
I'm not against bringing him in, but he's not who I pick. But it's a depth
I'd
option.
pick it, yeah. I don't mind having Conor Gallagher in my squad.
Yeah.
It's better than Ugarte for me. But he is of that ilk, but a bit better.
I'd say on the ball, like, he would be so much safer than Ugarte.
He'd be better than Ugarte, and he can and he definitely can get after people. Here's the thing, our manager would love him. I tell you,
He'd adore him.
He would love him because in this system and what Amorim asks for, he wants that guy who's going to follow instruct. He'll be like a Mason Mount, but in midfield.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Not just because of the Chelsea connect, but just I really like this player. He takes it on board. His standards are high in training. He's fit. He's physical. He runs, and he plays the simple passes. For me, if you're saying you can get Conor Gallagher, not for some of the prices that 50 million at 45, nah, like on a loan
with an option or
with
something.
an option, and that doesn't hinder no Elliot Anderson thing and that, I'd say yes. And I'd say yes because I think that as long as you go and get one of the big three, which is the Belabor, Wharton or Anderson, and you never know. You know what it's like in transfers. We're built up with these. You're going to get one of these three, then all of a sudden it's Stiller or something called.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or João Gomez or something. And we didn't get any of them. But for me, we have to get Elliot Anderson.
Yeah.
That's my guy. Like, we have to. He needs to be our starter next year. If you've got Conor Gallagher coming off the bench and, needing some legs in there, here and there, he can come on and run around a little bit. I think he'll be all right.
For depth, I'm not against it.
But
because we are almost 100% signing two mids.
Yeah,
because
there is.
I can't see Ugarte staying.
He's got to get sold.
I think he's going. Casemiro's
I wouldn't give Casemiro a new contract. Would you?
Only if he halves his wages.
I would want to see where he's at in March.
I wouldn't
April.
even do it if he halves his wages.
Because if he's falling off again, because so many times Casemiro's done well for part of the season, and then he's dropped off in about March. And it's like that will if we give him a new contract, that will become February next year, and then January the year after he'll only be able to do 3-4 months. I would see it as I wouldn't mind him staying along if he's then to take up a Johnny Evans kind of role, right? One of Maguire or Casemiro becoming like the Johnny Evans of the squad, like Tom Eaton's going as well. That kind of thing I get. But Casemiro, I think, would say that he's not at that stage of his career yet.
Where he just wants to... The bit that I'm looking at Ineos at now is the ruthlessness of how to move on.
Yeah.
That's the bit, because when you look at how Arsenal just seems to be a really good example, because they used to be terrible and laughed at, and now we're all scared they're going to win the league, or that they're up there, right? What they did really well is even players like Jesus, Zinchenko, even Ben White now to a certain extent, Ramsdale, when those guys came in, it's like, these are upgrades, these are good. God, I was finishing second with these guys, they're all right.
Yeah.
Then there comes a point, get me Calafiori.
Top four players.
Get me Timber.
Yeah.
See you later, Zinchenko. Jesus, too many injuries. Get me Havertz. Get me Gyökeres. You have to. So we have to start. The bit I'm looking at now is
club captain Odegaard is being all right.
Let's get Eze at the same time. You see what I'm saying? That's the bit that's gonna. So really, for me, the next stage is. This stage is like we still need players going to make us competitive, so we can be a decent team again.
Yeah.
Conor Gallagher can help us do that. Then don't get me wrong. In 18 months, 2 years, you say right, see you later. But for me, you have to be going right. Dalot, Casemiro, Maguire. I'm sorry. I know the sentiment of like, you need a few people around the thing. Casemiro for me has been good, good mentality. His first season excellent. This year revelation, but to me he's not so irreplaceable that who are we going to get to teach the next gen? If you go and buy Elliot Anderson, I guarantee you won't talk about Casemiro ever again. Do you know what I mean? We have to invest. I want to invest into the net, and even if Casemiro says I'll take 160 a week. You know what we can do with 160 a week?
Anderson probably.
Yeah, or you go and get Anderson, and then you go and use that 160 a week after Anderson, and go and get a João Gomez, go and get a Stiller. Invest into the future of Man United.
I think
Casemiro's not the future.
I think Cunha's on 150.
There you go.
And Mbumo's around similar there as well.
So Casemiro's going to take a lot less. And the way I look at it as well is, would any other of the teams that we're trying to catch and get to the level, would they invest into him now?
No.
Because anything you give him now of a new it's still an investment.
Yeah, City had Rodri to come in for Fernandinho.
Do you know what I mean? And he's world class.
Yeah,
I don't think any other team. Look at Arsenal again, yeah? We need a bit of depth in that. We'll just get Norgard from Brentford for 10 mil.
Yeah.
Like, you don't invest into
Casemiro.
Jorginho, you go, we'll get you. And then we replace the actual starter, Partey, with Zubimendi.
Yeah,
like, you have
upgrade.
to, you can't just go, yeah, but Cass, like, the revelation's been amazing, man. Like,
True.
He is good in that, man. Like, that's what we keep doing wrong all the time.
It's 18 million.
The holding on to
It's crazy,
things, yeah.
holding on to things. And if I ask you this, guys, I said this to Owen the other day, yesterday. Has the Casemiro signing been a success?
I'd say yes.
I'd give it a 6.
But like a 6.
In the middle.
Kind of
just
like,
above half.
It's like he's not flopped, but...
That was what Owen said. You can't call him a flop.
But for the wages, on top of the 60 million fee in his age, it's been... We needed him, but we shouldn't have given him that many wages, and we should have paid 10 million less.
We should have given him 2 + 1.
70 million, bro.
Yeah.
300. He's one of the highest paid players in the league.
Yeah.
So, and we got the first good season. He won the Carabao Cup, scored in the final.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. FA Cup season, didn't even win his medal, didn't play.
Yeah.
Amrabat played.
Yeah.
But to be fair to him, in that FA Cup thing, he was also scoring like last-minute winners against Forest.
Yeah, Forest. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he hasn't played his part, but for £70 million and £350,000 a week,
he was right there, and you're like, what are we doing?
And then we're going.
That's why I'd put it as like a 6.
And now we got the chance to just move away from that, and then what we're going to do is go, is there a way you can stay? We'll give you a new contract. Come on, man, let's do it. Nah. Think forward. Think the future. What's Casemiro going to be like in another year? 100%.
Then keep Casemiro and just bring him one.
Yeah. The way I see it is, I would
go and get a Mosquera.
Yeah.
Go and get Nkapie. Go and get
out of those
go and get
two.
Murillo.
Though, for me, out of those two, I'd want to keep one of them, but not both. Is how I'd see
Harry
it.
Maguire is the more likely because he would be happy to raise.
Out of the two of them, I'd rather keep Maguire. But if we let go of Maguire and then give Casemiro 70k per week plus a starting bonus, so whenever he does start a game, he gets a little bit more. Cool. Casemiro won't accept that. Then we'll keep Maguire maybe.
Because Casemiro might not see himself as like.
He definitely doesn't.
I'll just be a mentor.
He definitely doesn't.
Or I'll just go Saudi now. He might be like,
he
no,
can
I can go Juve. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I can still go play. I can play
Casemiro
Champions
AC
League.
Milan kind of thing. I can see
play
it.
Champions
Him and
League,
Modric
Europa
back.
League.
Modric looks amazing, by the way, at AC Milan at the moment. He's smashing it. He's 36. He's like 3.5 years old.
Casemiro can play in certain
Saudi,
teams.
Italy, MLS.
Yeah, but I just think for what we're doing, we've got to get better at. And I'm not just Casemiro because you brought him up, but people like say Dallo, you got to say goodbye.
Dallo's got to go.
You know, even someone, guys. Here's a mad one. Even if if we get proper, like, what do we do with Martinez then?
Leacher
just comes back in and it's fine, or do you go?
Oh no, I said
if the injuries are a bit thing.
No, I said
you go. Listen, he's good. I'm not saying, but are you going to go and get the real dominant guy who's top level? From somewhere else.
I'm putting Leacher in. For me, Leacher and Shaw are in the same boat at the moment. Shaw further down the line than Leacher, but it's the way of if you can't stay fit for the rest of this season, I don't want you for 25 games. I love Lisandro Martinez to death, right? I absolutely love that guy.
We have to be ruthless, man.
But yeah, like if you with his injuries as well, it's unfortunate that all 3 of the injuries he's had have been kind of out of his control. Someone snapped him up, right? It's like someone stepped on his ankle. Someone's done his ACL and stuff.
Mount's another one.
Whereas like Mount,
you got to go. All right.
Yeah,
does all right. We like him. Good attitude.
He gets another muscle.
Well, this is
not even just injuries. Even a bit
this season means a lot
to get better
for a load of players,
but not yet. I get it.
Like 8 or 9 players in this squad this season means a lot for them. Like you got Mount, Shaw, Leacher, Casemiro, Harry Maguire. Who else? Dallo, yeah, another one. That's like 7, and then maybe a couple of others.
So imagine you replace them 7 with like the next phase that are like upgrade. Like imagine you upgraded on every single one. 7 guys.
Probably
the same way
4 of the ones I've listed ago.
100%. And what gives me a bit of hope that we are onto that is what they did with the attack in the summer.
Yeah.
They just ripped it out, put a new one.
Do you know what I also liked is they didn't put Onana and Højlund in the bomb squad.
No.
Because those players were like, we ain't leaving. They went, well, we signed your replacements. You can stay, but you just ain't going to play. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they went from we ain't leaving to
I better go.
They've done us then. We've got to go now.
Yeah. So you've got that ruthlessness is what I'm looking at. Not so much now, as when we get to January, can we get a little Conor Gallagher to help us get over the line, this, that and the other. That's fine. But summer, I want us to go really aggressive for that top central midfielder, one of the big 3, preferably Anderson for me.
When Abby and I were speaking about this yesterday, I asked her what order do you think they're going to be price wise, and I said I reckon Anderson might end up also being the least expensive one, because I look at Wharton. Palace are in the best bargaining position for that, because especially if they win the Conference League, for example, because Wharton I'd say is also the most important to them out of the three, like Brighton and Belieber and Anderson and Forest. But yeah, Belieber's fallen off a cliff a bit, but Brighton will still probably end up getting a load of money for them. And then, depending on how much you believe Ben Jacobs, he's saying that there's a couple of things in Anderson's contract which give Forest a little less control over what actually happens with Anderson this summer. I don't know if it's a gentleman's agreement or it's one of those secret Marinakis clauses gives White type clause. Yeah. But I reckon Anderson might end up being the cheapest out of those three as well. And he's the one we need the best.
Potentially, I think we could get that 100 and 120. I think that's just
that's not. Yeah.
I think it'll be like 70. With some
I see it being 65 to 75
with like hefty add-ons as well, like spread over a long time.
Yeah, you can make it 90 over like 75 plus 15, something like that.
65, 75,
which is so worth it, man.
You got to get him.
Anderson's unreal.
You got to get him, or a player like that. Fair play. If the scouts are good, fair play. Go Liga in the French. Go Montpellier. Go find me that if you can for 15, 20 million.
Oh, I reckon that
unearth the gems.
That will be what happens. We'll buy Anderson for 75 or whatever it is, and then we'll go and get Buadi for 20 or something. Yeah. Who's like 18? He's like 18 now. I think 17, 18. Buadi.
Not against that. He looks good.
Huh?
He looks good from the little.
He looks very, very good. And obviously, I think France is the easiest league to translate over to the Premier League because it's the second most physical league after Europe. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Great to have you back, Flex, as well. Back on What the Devil, revamping this show, trying to get it back up to its 100%. to its height, to its glories. And as well, Alice, thank you for coming on once again.
Cheers for having me.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good hour. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Obviously, get your comments in about what you think we've been talking about. You know, do you agree with us? Disagree with us? We are back live every Thursday at 2 p.m. to go through all the latest news. Obviously, it's international break, so it's going to be a tough week for all of us after seeing our team win 4 of our last 7. And as I said, we're gonna get 21 points in the next 10 games and all of that. We'll see. But apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.